we will explain how to download and install Power BI Desktop through some steps that we will introduce in this video. The first step is navigating to the following link, powerbi.microsoft.com. Then press Products at the top of the page, then press Power BI Desktop. After that, a page will appear. Press See Download. Another page will appear. Press the red button which download is written in it. After pressing the red button, a list will appear including the 64 version and the 32 version. Each device has its own version, either 64 or 32. In order to know the version of Windows you have, 64 or 32-bit, open My Computer, right-click on this PC, choose Properties, and a window will appear. From the system type, you will know the version of your system. My device is 64-bit, so I will choose 64-bit from the list. After that, press Next. The Power BI Desktop will be downloaded, and we will wait until the download is finished. After the Power BI Desktop is downloaded, the installation file will appear on the location where you have downloaded it. For me, I've downloaded it onto my desktop. So let's open it to start installing the Power BI Desktop on this device. After opening the installation file, press Next. Then press Next. Then press the right mark on the square of I accept all terms of Microsoft. Then press Next. Choose C Partition. Then press Next. And then press Install. The installation of the Power BI Desktop will start. We will wait until it is completely finished. After it is installed on the device, press Finish. After finishing the installation, a shortcut of the Microsoft Power BI will appear on the desktop. Let's open it to have a look at the Power BI Desktop from the inside. After opening the Power BI Desktop, you can see a window with 3 sections that appears. This is where you can open recent files, or get data, or open other reports, or get started with signing in with your company email to collaborate and share your work, or even go to the blog and forums of Microsoft Power BI Desktop. So let's just close this window to see what is behind. Here is the user interface we will work with during the part of learning Microsoft Power BI Desktop of this. This is the interface of the Power BI Desktop when we open it. As we know in Microsoft programs, the first bar is the menu bar, which includes specific titles. The most commonly used one of them is Home. The Home icon consists of some sections such as Visualization, which contains the types of charts that can be used in designing reports. These charts are present at the bottom of the section Visualization. The Visualization section is divided into 2 parts. The first part is Field, and the second part is Format. The Field part includes the characteristics of the charts and their types. The Format part contains the formats that can be used in designing the reports. Another section from the Home icon is Fields. This section is the place where the added files appear. From these files, we can take the database and data that we will use or add to the report, meaning that the data that we will use in Power BI Desktop exists in this section. On the left side of the page, we will find 3 icons, which are Report, Data, and Model. The Report section is the place where we will work to design the report. The Data section is the place in which the tables and data added appears. And the Model, in which there are the relationships between similar fields that Microsoft links together by artificial intelligence. By going back to the report page, you can divide it into more than one page by pressing the plus mark beside the word Page. Also, you can change the page name by double-clicking on the word Page and writing the new name of your page. If you want to erase a specific page, press the X mark on the page you want to delete. A window appears, then press the Delete button. We will get deeper into each detail in the Power BI Desktop in the next lectures. In order to import the data, click on Get Data in the Home tab. The window where you can get data from different resources will pop up on your screen to start selecting your data source. And as you can see, you can select one of many data sources, such as Microsoft Excel document, CSV, PDF, SQL database, Google Analytics, or any other data source listed in this long list. So for a simple example, let's just choose the Excel workbook and click on Connect. Now choose the file that you want to get the data from. If you want to know that your file is correctly opened, you will note that the color of the titles is a little darker than the rest of the file. After that, press Load to upload your file. Now, after the file is loaded, it will appear in the Fields tab. When you press the small arrow beside the sheet icon, the list of data classification. Also, when you press the icon Data on the left of the page, we can see the added data by clicking the arrow. The data will appear where you can sort and organize it to be ready for the visualization process. After entering the necessary data for the interactive boards, let's start with the first design. So, as we have mentioned in the previous lectures, the visualization menu is where we can create or drag diagrams into our workspace. You can choose any chart to start to add it to your layout. So let's pick the clustered bar chart for an example. To add it, I will do one left click with my mouse, and it will appear as an empty window in our layout. And of course, you can hold and drag it. Also, it can be enlarged or shrinked as needed and as any other window. Now, in visualization, we have some data fields where we can add our data to start visualization process, such as axis, legend, value, and other fields used for visualization. So let's talk about the commonly used data fields, which are axis and values. As an example here, we need to create a chart that clarifies the relation between employees' departure time against the numbers of employees. So we put departure on the axis field and employees number on the field of values. Once the data is correctly added to fields, the visualization will take place. And as you can see here, we have our first chart designed in our interactive board. And you can replace the data in axis or value by dragging it from the inserted data. In this design, which we have designed in the previous lecture, if we want to know the count of the employees, the average, the maximum, the minimum, or anything else, press Value, then choose what we need: count, max, min, sum, average, etc. Now, if we change the format for the selected chart, such as changing colors, adding titles, changing lines, and so on, click on the Format icon to list all the visual properties that could be modified. Then we can modify what we want. Like if we want to hide labels or show labels, click on Data Labels as we see here on the board. The same if we want to change colors, click on Bars, then Colors, and choose the color that you want. As you see the orange color after we changed it. We can also change the title by clicking on General and then clicking on Title. We can hide the title or show it. You can also change the title by writing the new name in the box as you see. It's bold, changing its color, put it in the middle, on the left, on the right. We can also hide the title of the x-axis or the y-axis from the item visual, as we see in the video. If we want to hide the x-axis or the y-axis, just click Off on the x-axis or Off on the y-axis, as I can change the colors too. As you can see here, we have the first chart we have made in the previous lecture, which is the horizontal bar chart. Now we want to create other and different charts. For example, if we want to create a pie chart or a donut chart, we can simply click on it from the Visualization tab and it will pop up on our layout page. Now for the data, we will put the employees according to the center they work in. So we put the center in the legend box and the number of employees in the values box. We should make sure that the value is count, not sum, in order to count the employees, not making a summation of them. This will appear as you see in the video. We can change chart format by clicking on Format Your Visual, then clicking on Detail Labels. Now you can see the options of the labels of this chart, such as Labels Position to control the position of the label according to the chart, and Label Contents to select which data to be shown in the label. And then I will click on the Legend button to switch it off and hide it. Now we see our donut chart showing the percentages of the numbers of employees by center without having the legend beside the donut chart. Instead, we have the data and numbers we need as a label for every color of the chart. Now let's create another design to show the percentage of males and females. To know how many males and how many females we have as employees, we create a pie chart, then we put the gender in legend and the gender also in value. And now the chart appears in 2 different colors, which can be changed from the Format Your Visual tab. But for now, let's just do what we have done to the previous chart. We will do the same steps as we said before. From Data Labels, we will choose Category under Data Value and switch off the legend. We can change the colors and the title from the General tab. For example, if we want to change the title, we will click on the title to open Title Settings. Then we can change the text or format it, such as changing the font or size of the text. And to change the colors, I will go back to the Visual tab and open Slices Settings to change the colors of the slices of the pie chart we have created. So let's put a pale blue color for males and a pink color for females, and this will be our result. We can now include a column chart. We can add the first name in the axis and the count of gender in the values, and it will be shown as we can see. It will show the number of employees in a relation with the first name. That was the first part of this lecture. We will continue to create different chart designs for our interactive boards. So besides the different chart we have created previously, we want to add a line chart or an area chart to show the number of employees by year to see the change that happens by time. We will add the area chart that will show the number of employees by years. Now we will add the start date in the axis box and the number of employees in the value box. The area chart we have created is now visible on our screen with the data we have entered. But first, we need to make sure that it is set to count instead of sum so that it is counting them and not using the sum in the chart. Now, as we have done before, to add the numbers, we can do this by using the label option from our Format Visuals tab. Then we scroll down to the Data Labels and switch it on. Now we will add some cards that show some index for the data we have, such as adding the total number of the employees. And we can do so by choosing the card from the list of visuals we have. So let's resize the card to make it fit for that empty space we have. Now, to make it show the number of employees, we will need to drag that data and put it into the Fields box. The number will appear as shown. We can format it using the Formatting tab. And from the Visual section and in Callout Value, we can change the color and make it bold. Now, if we want to create more than one card, we can just copy the card by selecting it and pressing Ctrl-C, then Ctrl-V. And we do it 2 times because we need 2 copies. Now, for example, we need to add the total paid salary each month for all employees, which means that I need to use the sum and not change it to count. So I will select one card and delete the number written in it by deleting the data in its field. Then write the monthly salaries of the employees by putting the monthly salary in the Fields box, and it will finally appear like that. Of course, here in the number of employees, we haven't changed it to count yet. So let's do it by selecting the card, and in the Fields box, we change the sum to count. In the third card, we will put job rate, which is an average, not a count. So we will drag the job rate into the box of field and change the job rate from sum to average. Now let's add a data slicer that will manage the data shown on the screen depending on data categories or groups. For an example, we want to create some tabs and every tab shows the data of the selected country once it's selected. So we choose the Data Slicer tool and it will appear as you see. We can choose Country and drag it into the Fields box. Now we need to change the orientation from vertical to horizontal. So let's open the Format tab and open the visual settings of the slicer and change the orientation from vertical to horizontal. As you can see, we have some countries in the Middle East, and once we select a country, the data of this country will appear on the screen and all the charts will be updated to show only the data related to this country. For example, when we click on Egypt, all the data related to Egypt will display on all the charts in the page. And if we choose Lebanon, all the data related to Lebanon will be displayed on all charts. And the same thing with all countries, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and United Arab Emirates. And now we have our first interactive board created. But as a final touch, let's add a title and a logo for our board. If we want to insert a logo, we can insert it as an image. And if we want to insert an image, another shape, or anything else, we can do so using the Insert tab. Then we choose what we want to insert. So for example, we need to add a simple text. So I will insert a text box. After that, I will just type Power BI as a draft text, or you can type a suitable title for your interactive board. You can change the font formatting and size and other properties using the text formatting bar that appears when editing the text in the text box. So for example, let's choose the size of 24 and make it bold. Then let's resize and move the text box to use as a title. We can insert a logo as an image from the Insert tab to insert a draft image to use it as a logo. I will just use this logo.gif for now. And here is the result after changing its scale. Finally, we can quickly change the colors using the color templates in the View tab. As you can see, there are some of the ready-to-use color themes to be used and to change the colors of all the charts at once. That was it for this lecture, so let's end it by saving this file and clicking on File menu, then click on Save As, and then choose the place and the name of the file. And it will be saved as PBIX extension, which is readable by the Power BI. We will learn how to filter the inserted data to select the data we need to visualize. So let's start by importing data from an Excel workbook. The first step is to choose the file that we want to get the data from. So I will choose the Excel file where the data exists, and then click Load. And once the data is loaded, the tables will be listed in the Fields tab. Let's have a fast look at the Filters tab. As we can see here, we have two sections or two types of filters, such as filters to be applied only to this page or filters to be applied to all pages, which can be used if we have a project with more than one page and want to apply a filter in all pages of the project. Now let's have an example of data filtering. First, I will create a clustered bar chart. I will make it a little bigger. Now let's put some data into it. I will drag Center to the axis and Country to Values. The chart is now displayed with the selected data. Let's enlarge it again a little bit, and I will make some quick changes to the chart format just to make it look better, such as hiding the x-axis and its title, and changing the bar color. Let's make it dark red. Now, let's say we need to filter this chart as we want to hide part of the visualized data. And we can do so using the Filters tab, so let's open it. Once you select a chart, you will see an additional section which is Filters on this visual, which will filter the detected chart, only the detected chart, meaning that if we have many charts, it will not filter them, just this one. For example, if I want to filter centers visualized in this chart, I will go to Filters and start to choose which centers I want to display in my chart. So if I want only the West to be displayed, I will deselect all and then I will select West. This way, I have a filter applied to this chart only, which is to display only one category of the data in the Axis field. And I can change this by changing the selection of the fields on the basic filter list. The selected fields are to be displayed, and the deselected is to be hidden in the chart. The basic filter can be applied on all charts individually, so I can change the basic filter of a chart without affecting the other charts in the page. Let's try that by creating other charts. For example, I will create a 100% stacked column chart and quickly drag the data into it, such as number in the values and country in the axis. If I selected a column in the 100% stacked column chart, it will show the percentage of this column in the other chart. Let's just make sure that the number refers to the count and not the sum. If we want to filter the new chart, we will select it and then go to the filter list. We will, for example, filter the countries. We will remove one country so it will not appear in the chart. We will make another chart and then we're going to apply a filter to all the charts together. We will not select any of the charts. Then click Filter and then click Filters on this page. Then drag Center to this box. Click Select All. Choose what we want to remove from all of the charts in our page. We will choose North, so North will disappear in all charts, including the chart where we are hiding West. So in this red chart, we will only have 3 centers because the West is hidden by a filter for this chart only that we have created at the beginning of this lecture. So that's it for the basic filter for a specific chart and for the filters used in the current page. If we have many pages and we want to filter all of them, we will choose Filter All Pages and then choose what we need to filter. We will get to know how to create a query using the query editor. First, we have to import new data from our computer in order to apply some formats to it in a separate way to be able to create a query using the query editor. To get this data, we will click Get Data or Excel Workbook in the main bar, and then choose the file from which you want to import the data needed through, or by writing the Excel sheet's name in the file name box down there, then make a double click on it or click Open. And here we have the navigator where we can select the data and display options that we need. Here are the same files that we already have inserted as fields. We can load it to fields, but we want to create a query, so we will click on Transform Data instead of Load. Or in another way, if we already have the data loaded in the application, we can just click on the table that we need to work on in the database of fields, and then click Transform Data in the upper main bar. A window that belongs to the query editor will be visible now on the screen. This is the query editor in the Power BI with which we can add a query to the data. Now, if we want to make a query on a specific country, for example, in order to make the information and data that belongs to only this specific country visible on the charts, we will follow the following steps. First, to make a query on a specific country, Egypt for example, we will create a query on the Country column by selecting the Country column and then right-clicking the mouse. A list appears from which we will choose Add as New Query, which is the final option in the list. After that, the column will be separated in a new window that is on our screen now, and it includes only the selected column, which is the column of countries. Also, it includes all the countries that exist on our data table. We note that there are repeated countries within the column, so if we want to remove this repetition to view each country only one time in the column, we will click the right button on the mouse after selecting the column. We will see a list from which we can choose Remove Duplicates. Here is the column. As we can see, all the repeated countries are removed from the column. Now, to make Egypt the only country that we want to make a query about and to view only its data on the charts, we will go back to the primary table from the main menu, and then we click on Manage Parameters from the main bar. We can see a new window on the screen that belongs to Manage Parameters tool. We will click New to add a new parameter. Now select the parameters that are only related to the country Egypt. We will fill the boxes of name, description, type, suggested values, and the current values. To apply this, we will write in the name box on the word country, and in the description box, write Enter the name of the country. In the same window, select Any from Type. Select Query from Suggested Values. Select Country from Query, and select Egypt from Current Values, then click OK. In order to apply the query that we have created to be visible on the chartboard, click on the primary table again from the main menu. Then click on the arrow that exists on the Country column box. A list will be shown beneath the table title in which we will find all the countries that exist in the column. After that, we will cancel the selection of Select All to cancel the selection of all countries. Then we will choose Equals from Text Filters. In this window, to filter the rows of the column to make only Egypt be in the Country column, we will choose Parameter, then choose Country 1. After clicking on the ABC box, sorry, I have a mistyping here for country, then click on OK. To add and apply the query to our interactive board, we have to close the table window and save the changes we have made. So in order to do so, click Close and Apply from the main bar. Here, we got back to our chart board after the query has successfully loaded and applied. Now we can see all the data, charts, and numbers are related to only Egypt, which is the country we have filtered, because this is the query that we want to select and apply to our data. Of course, we can change or remove the data that are related to the country Egypt and return back all of the data that belongs to all countries. To be able to do that, we can click Transform Data from the main bar. We will have the query table again, then click the filter mark present in the column of country. After that, choose Clear Filter from the list and click OK. Here are all the countries returned back in the column. And to apply this on the charts, we will click Close and Apply to see them on the board. Now, after the filter of Egypt has been removed from the query table, all the countries will appear again on the charts and the board returned back as it was. That was it for this lecture, so let's end it by saving this file by clicking on File menu, then click on Save As, and then choose where the file will be saved and write the name of the file. But we have to choose the type of the file as Power BI template file to be saved as a query. Now you will be asked to write the template description again, so we can write anything such as country name query, then click OK. We can close the file and then open it again from its icon on the desktop. Now the description that we wrote while saving the file, which is country name query, is written in the window as we see, and you will be asked to choose the country that you want the query to be applied to. When we choose Saudi Arabia, for example, and then click on Load and Apply Change to apply the query to the chart board, we note that the query is applied and only the data that is related to Saudi Arabia is visible on the board as we want. We will learn how to replace the data using a query editor. Sometimes we need to replace specific data that we already have. We will get to know how to do that using the query editor. First, we will create a card in which we will apply our data. Then we will use the query editor to replace some data in that card. We can do this by dragging a card from Visualizations to the board. Now we have the data that we have inserted to Microsoft Power BI Desktop. So we are going to fill the card with this data by adding, for example, the overtime hours to the fields box. After that, as we see, the overtime hours number is added to the card on the board. Now to open the query editor, with which we can change and replace the data, click Transform Data from the main bar. Here is the query editor page. In order to replace a number with another one, we will choose a repeated number, for example, in the overtime column and replace it with another one. Now we note that the number 0 is repeated many times. So for example, we will replace it with another number that can be 2. That can be done by selecting the overtime column, then clicking Replace Value in the main bar. Then we are asked to write the number that we want to replace with the number that it will be replaced with. So we will write the number 0 in the Value to Find box and the number 2 in the Replace With box. Then click OK. Now, here all the 0 values are replaced with 2 values in the overtime column. Now, if we want to replace these numbers in all of the table columns, we select all of the columns by holding Control and selecting the columns. Then, we will do the same by clicking Replace Value from the main bar. Then we are asked again to write the number that we want to replace with the number that it will be replaced with. So we will write the number 0 in the Value to Find box and the number 2 in the Replace With box. Then click OK. Hence, we will see that all 0 values are replaced with 2 values in all of the table columns. To apply these changes to the card on the box, click Close and Apply in the main bar. There will be a yellow bar beneath the main bar in which it's written, "There are pending changes in your queries that have not been applied." So click Apply Changes. Now here we are, the change is applied, and all the values are replaced. Finally, we need to make sure that it is set to average instead of sum in order to view the average number of the overtime hours on the card and not viewing the sum. So we will click on Overtime Hours from Fields and choose Average from the list. And here is the average number written on the card. We can see the number decimal value in the average number on the card. Actually, we can make it appear or disappear by choosing Visual menu in Formats menu and changing the value decimal places, the number of decimals we want as for 0, 1, 2, and so on. So let's end it by quickly changing the colors using the colors in the Visual tab. We will get to know how to clean and transform data using the query editor. Sometimes Power BI Desktop can only recognize the text of columns, so we need to make it recognize the numbers that are written, meaning that if we insert a piece of information as numbers and we find the results make no sense, that means that Power BI cannot recognize the numbers. Then we have to follow the following steps to make Power BI recognize the numbers, not only the text data. First of all, we need to insert the data that we will work on, and of course, it should have numbers and text to be able to apply the steps which we will do using the Power BI desktop to recognize the numbers. To get the data, we will select Get Data or Excel Workbook in the main bar, and then choose the file where we want to get the data from. So we go to the file location wherever it is and open it, and then we choose the Excel sheet that we want. After that, we will choose the file that we need, which is Sheet 1 from Display Options through the Navigator window. Here is the data of the Excel sheet that we want to load to the Power BI desktop. In the last step, to finally load the data and make it be visible on the Power BI desktop screen to be able to work on it, we will select Load. Then the data will be saved on the Field tab. Now, here is our data loaded on the Fields tab by its name, which is Sheet 1. First, we need to create a card where we will apply the data that we have loaded. Then we can apply the steps that will make the Power BI desktop recognize the numbers of the data and make them appear correctly on the card. In order to create the card, we will drag a card from Visualizations to the board and center it in the middle of the board. Now we are going to fill the card with this data by selecting, for example, the monthly salary and dragging it to the Fields box. Now we note an unexpected number of the monthly salary on the card. Then we will doubt that the Power BI desktop can't recognize the numbers. So to ensure that this is true, we will make a right-click beside the Monthly Salary tab. We will note that there is no choice related to numbers such as sum or average. Hence, we will make sure that the Power BI desktop recognizes this number on the board as a text and it can't recognize it as a number. Now, after we have ensured that Power BI can't recognize this number, we will follow the next steps to make it recognize the number to be able to work correctly on these data. The first step is to select the column which we will work on, which is the monthly salary. After that, if we look up, we will see text is written in the Data Type box. To change the text to numbers, we will make a right-click on the arrow of the box and choose the whole number. We will find a message that says Data Type Change Window. We click Yes. After, we will find a message that says something went wrong. Now, to change the recognition of this file into numbers, click on the data symbol to open our table. As we see, because the column includes both numbers and text, which is written as NA, the Power BI program can't recognize the whole column as numbers. Note that NA refers to holidays where employees don't get any salary, so it is written like this. To fix this, we need to replace NA with, for example, 0 to make the whole column include only numbers and the Power BI program recognize them. We will need to open the query editor to replace some data, and this can be done by clicking Transform Data to go to the query editor. Now the query editor page is opened, so in order to replace a number with another one, select the column which we want to work on, then click Replace Values. Then write the value that we want to remove, which is NA, in the Value to Find box, and write the value that we want instead in the Replace With box, then click OK. Now all NA values are replaced with zeros, and all the columns boxes included numbers exactly as we wanted. Now select Close and Apply to apply what we have done on the card. To make sure that we are on the right path, we will make a right-click on the arrow of the Monthly Salary box. We will find that the whole list is related to numbers such as sum, average, and so on. Now we can change the number on the card to be the sum of the salaries by choosing Sum from the list, and the same for the average of the salaries, max, min, etc. So let's end it by quickly changing the colors using the colors, font, decimal places, or control the shape of the number in Visual. We will learn how to create interactive maps using Power BI Desktop. In order to create an interactive map, first we need to insert the data that we will work on. That will occur by selecting Get Data from the main bar. Now let's choose the Excel workbook from the Get Data window, where this is the data file type that we want to have in the Power BI desktop, then select Connect. To get the specific Excel workbook sheet from our computer, write the Excel sheet's name in the File Name box. Then click the left button of the mouse twice on it, or select Open. If the Excel sheet's location is known to us, we can choose the tab that the file exists on, maybe our desktop or downloaded files, and then choose the Excel sheet that we want. After that, we will select the files that we need, which are Emp Table and Employees, in the Display Options tab through the Navigator window. Here is the data of the Excel sheet that we want to load to the Power BI desktop. In the last step, to finally load the files to the Power BI desktop to be able to work on it, we will select Load. Then the data will be saved on the Field tab. Now, here are our data loaded on the Fields tab by their names, which are Emp Table and Employees. Now, to create an interactive map and start working on it, we need to drag a map to the board. This can be done by choosing a map from Visualization and dragging it to the board. So let's resize the map to make it a little bigger and center it to make it clearly visible to us. Now we need to insert a specific data that are related to the countries to view it on the map. We can do that by dragging Country to the Location box and dragging Center to the Size box. We note that the map didn't appear on the screen. That's because there is a problem in our settings. To fix this, click File in the main bar, then choose Options and Settings. After that, select Options and choose Security from the list. Now we will select the Not Recommended option from Data Extensions, and then select all the unselected options and click OK. After that, we are told that the change requires restart. So we will agree by clicking OK and restarting the Power BI desktop program. Now, after restarting the program, we will repeat all the steps that we have done. And here we are, our map is created. Note that in order to make the map appear on the board, the device must be connected to the internet. Now we can make some changes or formats to make the map appear better, such as changing the style of the map and changing the size of the circles to be clearer to us. To apply these formats to our map, we can click Format, and to change the style of the map, we can choose the style that we want from Style in the Map settings, which exists in the Visual tab. Also, we can change the volume of the bubbles by making them bigger or smaller from Size in the Bubbles tab, which exists in the Visual tab too. These bubbles represent the center of the company in each country. We can also change their colors by choosing the color we want from Colors in the same tab. In order to view some other details on the map, such as the percentage of males and females in each country, we can replace Center with Count of Gender in the Size box. Here is the percentage of males and females appearing on the map in each country. We will note that Egypt has the largest number on the map. We can also make some other changes, such as hiding the category or showing it from Map settings in Visual. That was it for this lecture, so let's end it by quickly changing the title settings, such as hiding or showing it on the map. We can change its color, its background color, its size, or put it in the middle of the page, on the right, on the left, as we like. We will learn how to create a business account on Power BI. The advantage of this account is to be able to use or enter Power BI service. Through this service, we can upload the reports and publish or share it with other accounts through the internet because, as we said before, we can't create a personal account like gmail.com, hotmail.com, or Outlook. We can just create a business account. Today we're going to learn how to make the email, which is called commercial email, business email, or company email. A person who has a business account won't need these steps. First, we need to open Altmail's website. On this website, you will be asked to write your personal email address and a name for the account. After the access, the website will send you a link to make sure that this email belongs to you. Click on this link and do the verification steps. Now the verification succeeded. Now access this link, which is https://app.powerbi.com to sign in. A window appears. You will be asked to write the email that you have just made, then click Submit. The website will ask you if this email belongs to an organization, so you will mark it and then click Next. You will be asked to complete some information such as your first name, last name, phone number, write a password, and confirm it. Also, you will write a specific code, and this code will be sent to your private email. Then agree to the privacy settings, then click Next. After that, we will return back to the homepage of Microsoft Power BI. Sign in with the email you have just made, then click Next and write the password. You will be signed in. Now you have an account on Power BI Service. This is the homepage of Power BI Service. It looks like the homepage of Power BI Desktop, but it allows us to upload our reports online, and we will learn its details in the next videos. We will explain the publication of data on the Power BI service. Today, after we have created an email on Power BI, we will sign in to Power BI Desktop to upload and share the reports on the Internet. Click Get Start. A window will appear asking you to write your email address, then click Continue. We note that the username is written at the top of the page, which means that you are successfully signed in. Now your Power BI Desktop is connected to Power BI Service, which means that you can share reports and upload them on the Internet. We're going to upload a previously made report and share it on the Internet. All the steps will be discussed in detail. In order to open the previously made report, click File, then choose the file that you want, and the file will appear. To share the report online, click Publish from the Share box. Choose My Work, then click Select. In the window that appeared, you will find the word Success, which means that the report is successfully uploaded to the Power BI service that enables you to share the file online. Click on the link that appeared in this window to make the file appear on the web. This is the file we have uploaded. Now it appears on the Power BI service on the Internet. From the case icon, choose Include Report, then Publish to the web. This window tells us that we have to ask the domain or the admin to have the link of the file and share it on the web. You can buy an admin and sign into it. Then you can take the link and share it. But in our case, we don't need to share it on the web. It's enough to have it on the Power BI service. We will explain how to open Power BI service, and we will explain the description of the Power BI service interface. First, click the link https://powerbi.microsoft.com. This is the page that will be opened, which is the page of Power BI as an application of Microsoft. Then we sign in with the business account that we have created before. The email that we entered last time is recorded in the window that appeared. Now you should write the password of your email, then click Sign In. Now the Power BI service interface appears. This is the homepage of Power BI. It is a little different from the Power BI desktop. The most obvious difference between them is that the Power BI service can share, upload, and modify the reports on the Internet with many web pages, companies, and other emails. On the right, we will find the icon of Profile, in which we can find the user's name and the email that we are signed in. That is the search box in which we can search for any report or file that exists in Power BI. Beneath the search box, we can find an icon that is used to change the layout of the home page to help you find the content much easier. Besides this icon, there is a box that is written in it, New Report. We use this icon to create a new interactive report in the Power BI service. We will click on it and see what's going to happen. In this window, you are asked to add data to get started. We can add these data manually by clicking this icon and writing the data that we want, then name the manual sheet and click Auto Create Report. But if we already have our data, then click on the Pick a Published Data icon. These are the files that we have created before on the Power BI desktop program and already shared with the Power BI service. We will go back to the home page. If we click the Create icon, the same window will appear just like the icon of New Report. The Dataset icon includes all the data that are uploaded before and saved in the Power BI service. When you click the Goals icon, this window appears. Then click on the yellow box. In this yellow box, we can create our own goal and write it. For example, in this box, which is called Education Sample, we can create a monthly educational goal, such as how much the students understand and what is the reach of the lecturers, what should students gain after the course, and so on. At the bottom of the page, we can see the goals created, the name of the creator, and the last time the window was open. As we see, there are a lot of templates present in this icon that we have made before. The icon Apps contains the applications that are provided by Power BI service on the internet or on the web. This is the homepage of the Apps icon. Click Get Apps to see the applications that we can use in Power BI service. As we see, all of these applications are available through Power BI to start working with. Some of them are available for free and others need fees to start using them. We can search for the application by name from the upper box. All of the applications can be classified according to template apps or organizational apps. Now, for example, we choose this application. The applications that we have chosen and worked with before are recorded as shown. We can also know their names, the publisher's name, the date of using it, the app type, and other details. In the Share With Me icon, we can see all the applications, files, or reports that were shared with me through my email. Another icon is Learn, in which we can see the interactive reports by Microsoft from which we will benefit to design and create many types of reports. We can see one of these samples as shown. It is an analytical report that we can use as a measurement in designing our report. It is available to modify this report and use it. We will explain how to create an interactive board on Power BI service. We have learned before how to create an interactive board on Power BI desktop. Now we will learn how to make it on Power BI service. This is the report we have created before on Power BI desktop and published with Power BI service. Click on this report to open it. The report is exactly shown as it is on Power BI desktop. Of course, it is available to modify the report, share it, and interact with it on the web. If we click Edit, all of the lists of Power BI desktop will appear. For example, if we want to change colors, click on Data Colors, then choose the color we want, then apply it. After that, click File and Save to save the changes we have made to the report. Now we're going to create a new report to know the slight difference between Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service. Click the Home icon, then click New Report or Create. We can write our data manually, but we will choose one of the Excel sheets that we already have. We will select the data and then click Create to start working on the data on the internet. Now, turn off filters, then start to create the interactive board. From the visualization icon, choose bar charts, for example, and make it a little bigger. Now we can add data to the chart, drag the number of employees to the values box, and change sum to count. If we want to change some formats, select the chart, then click Format. You can turn off the title of the x-axis and turn off the x-axis itself. We will make some changes to the y-axis, like changing the font size, making it bold, maximizing the category. We can also hide or show the title of the y-axis, change the colors, turn on the data tables to show the numbers, and so on. The same as we were doing on Power BI Desktop. If you want to make another chart, drag, for example, a donut chart to the board, drag gender in the legend box, and drag gender in the values box. Also, we will make it count, not sum. Turn off legend and change colors to pale blue for males and pink for girls. We will add another chart to the board, a linear chart, for example. We will make the relation between country and center. Also, we can change formats as the previous, such as colors, size, font, etc. We will add an area chart to the board. We create a relation between center and monthly salary as shown. The chart shows how much money is spent in each center. From formats, also, we can change colors, size, numbers, and so on. We will add an interactive chart with which we can add countries by dragging country to the location box. Note that in this interactive chart, the internet must be provided to work. After that, drag gender to the size box. Some changes can be applied to the circles by clicking bubbles, then changing their colors and size. A card chart can also be added to the board, then drag monthly salary to the fields box and make it an average, not sum. We can change the color of the number from data labels, then choose blue color, for example. Other formats can be applied as we did before. Now we have a complete report. If we click Egypt, the country of Egypt will appear on the map. The same if we click Saudi Arabia, it will appear, and so on. We will add a percent column chart as well, then drag center to the axis box and drag job rate to the values box and make it an average. Another column chart can be added too, then drag gender to the axis box and drag center to the values box. In the chart, the males, females, and their numbers in a specific center will appear. We can make formats on this chart such as turning on or off the x-axis, turning off the title, changing the data color, and we can make shadows or borders on all charts. We can increase the number of pages by clicking on the plus mark at the bottom of the page. We can delete them or change their name as shown. Now, if we want to save the report, click Save. You will be asked to write the name of the report. Write it, then click Save. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.